The Great Barrier Reef is the largest coral reef in the world. It stretches 2,300 kilometres along the east coast of Queensland and covers approximately 350,000 kilometres squared. It is home to over 1,500 species of fish, 360 species of hard coral, and over a third of the world's soft corals, 22 seabird species, and 32 shorebird species. However, our Great Barrier Reef is at risk.
Emma, come in, this is Houston. Emma, this is Houston, come in.
Houston, what seems to be the problem?
There seems to be a large amount of coral that has begun bleaching. I need you to investigate it straight away.
Copy that, Houston. I'll be in touch.
Emma, be careful.
Roger that, Houston. Over and out. I've had some tough assignments over the years. But this will be the toughest yet. But when there's a will, there is a way. And I will find out what has happened to our coral reef. Until then, I'll catch you on the flip side. Now I'm here with scuba diver Sally to find out what exactly she is seeing happen on the reef. The reef is changing in front of my eyes. I've been diving for 30 years, but gradually the water keeps getting warmer. The storms becoming more frequent. There's more tourists, however less education. The biggest change I've noticed is the change in the coral colour. They've gone from this beautiful, vibrant coral to this dull, white coral, otherwise known as bleached coral. These corals used to house hundreds of different species of fish, but the diversity seems so much lower nowadays. Every time a storm hits, the corals break apart and float out to the sea. They're so brittle due to the bleaching. As a result of the schools of fish moving, with less fish, there's far less seabirds. And with far less seabirds, there's less tourists, less money. But I've also noticed a huge increase in the number of crown of thorn starfish. These starfish attach themselves to the coral and strip all the nutrients out of the coral, killing the corals, and yet again taking away the tropical fish's homes. And also, every time there's a nearby flood, this murky, disgusting water leaks into our beautiful reef, and it stays murky for weeks on end. Well, now that we know what is happening on the reef, it begs the question of why. I will find out.
We're at the Reef Institute, where we've managed to score an interview with Dr. Ray Whale. Now, Dr. Ray Whale, what are your findings?
My current findings indicate that without mitigation, the current rate of anthropogenic-driven climate change is set to warm the surface temperature of the Great Barrier Reef at an unprecedented level throughout the 21st century.
This temperature increase will induce large amounts of coral bleaching and coral mortality, with huge effects spiralling throughout the reef's biodiversity, ecology, appearance, and dependent recreational use, and also economic activity. The Great Barrier Reef attracts more than 1.6 million visitors each year, contributes $5 billion to the Australian economy, and generates about 63,000 jobs.
Are reliant upon algae as their food source. When the relationship between coral and algae is broken down, coral becomes bleached or white in appearance.
Once the corals are bleached, most struggle to feed themselves and hence die. Corals can recover, however it lowers reproduction and growth, along with increased susceptibility to disease. Even if that area has been bleached, is allowed to recover, it can take years or even decades to return to its healthy stage. The main cause of coral bleaching is heat stress due to the rising sea temperatures. Temperature rises as small as 1 degree for only 4 weeks will induce the bleaching progress. If the conditions persist for 8 weeks or more, the corals will begin to die. Due to a number of housing and business developments on the shore of the reef, there is an increase in phytoplankton, which leads to an increase in the crown of thorn starfish. These starfish feed on the nearby corals and also kill them. Climate change, and hence storms, habitat destruction, increased risk of boat strike due to the high traffic around the reef, potential tourist harassment, and oil spills can prove deadly for the legendary sea cow, otherwise known as the dugong, which is at risk of becoming extinct in the very near future.
The United States of America have sectioned off parts of their coral reef and banned any tourists or boats from entering the area. These banned areas then allow
It is home to over 1,500 species of fish, a third of the world's soft corals, and 360 species of hard corals.
Professor Raymale, for that insightful discussion. I think it is decided climate change is to blame for our corals dying and our reef warming.
Now, I think that the climate change science is far from settled. The fact that we've had, if anything, cooling global temperatures over the last decade, notwithstanding continued dramatic increases in carbon dioxide emissions, suggests that the role of CO2 is not nearly as clear as the climate catastrophists would suggest.
It does appear that there is more than one opinion on this topic. I think it's time to report to Houston. Houston, come in. Houston, I think we have a problem.
What seems to be the problem, Detective?
There seems to be very big conflicting decisions on whether climate change is to blame for our corals dying.
In your study, Emma, which side had more evidence?
Well, sir, the evidence definitely leans more towards climate change is the main factor in the corals bleaching.
Well done, Detective. In any study, we always need to rely on scientific stats and not just opinions. So I agree it can be hypothesised that climate change is to blame for our reef dying, and until Mr. Abbott or anyone else proves this to be incorrect, consider it case closed. Houston, over and out.
Well, like I said, when there's a will, there is a way, and Detective Emma will always find the answer. Until next time, stay cool, Australia.